Broadcasting through the depths of outer space.
Hello, I'm alive. I don't know what's going on.
By your command.
Fascinating.
God damn you all to hell!
Nanu. It's the Sci-Fi Podcast.
Hello and welcome to episode, is it 24?
Yes.
Of the Solo One Sci-Fi Podcast. 24! And my co-host who likes The Incredible Hulk, the 70s one, who's going to give me a quick R, is Michael Paul. From what galaxy are you talking from this week?
Well, actually, I'm just changing back from The Incredible Hulk at the moment. You can hear the changing back sound effect in the background, so... That's it. My eyes are still a bit green, but they're just turning back now. That's it. I'm back. Sorry, I was slightly disposed. They're a bit ripped at the bottom, and my t-shirt's my shirt's a bit ripped, but it's fine. It's hanging on my shoulders and stuff. So after I've done the podcast, I'll just go outside and find a shirt somewhere on the clothesline and leave a £10 note. How are you doing?
I'm all right. I went to a friend's on Monday, and I had my first drink in 6 months, and I took loads of precautions to get there and back, and I'm glad I did it.
Yeah.
I just needed to get out. So that's nothing really much happened this week. What have you been up to?
Not a lot. I'm going out now for daily walks, which is really good. I do a half an hour walk, and often I walk around with my daughter. We just sort of go in a sort of big circle, but we do get a quick, brief glimpse of the sea from where I am, which is quite nice as well. And if we go relatively early, it's pretty quiet. But if we do see people coming up on the same side of the road as us, we cross over and we just do things like that, which, you know, you can be 2 meters from people, but we tend to just sort of cross over just for that extra protection and stuff. But no, we're doing fine. Same old thing, just waiting for some change in society and some glimpses of potential normality, which doesn't seem to be too forthcoming, shall we say. So yeah. But it's nice that you got out at least. I mean, it must have been strange going out and meeting someone and actually having a drink.
I felt like remember them comedy movies, where they get stuck in the desert and they find people.
Oh,
coming out of the desert, I felt like I come out of the desert and go, my God, there's a person there. There's a person. Yeah,
it is so strange because this is, people were never going to forget this kind of thing, and it's strange that when it first started kicking off, some people I knew were kind of like, oh, nothing's going to be bad. It's not going to be that bad. They've all gone very quiet now. They're all sort of acting in a sort of like different way now to how they had their initial skepticism.
Yeah.
Is what I had to say. So yeah, it's been a funny old time. But I watched lots of films, and we're going to focus on the Tom Cruise film today, Oblivion, which I've seen. I've seen it. I actually watched most of it today. I ran out of time to see the end of it, but it was a very good film. And I think it's well worth a focus of the week on that. Other things, I know we've got some Star Trek, Star Wars news, which we both talked about before recording, which we'll mention as well. And Martin loves these. We're going to do another one of the musical songs at the end of the show. We've had Terminator the musical. I think we've had Predator the musical. We've had The Thing the musical. And today's little example will be RoboCop the musical. So
where do you find all this?
There's a guy on YouTube, he does them all, and he makes them all, and I just think they're so odd and surreal, but they're sci-fi based, and I'm running out of music to put at the end of the shows anyway, so I'm sort of like a bit at the bottom of the barrel at the moment. So I thought that RoboCop is up to bat today. If
anybody who's listening, if you've got any ideas for any music at the end, just let us know in the comments.
I mean, we've had 20. This is the 24th show, so it's 24 podcasts with music. So I have got still one or two more to put on, but like I said, we might repeat one or two in future shows because after all, that's a lot of shows, isn't it? So we'll see. Let's just see how it goes. I like to end on a song. But we don't have to, but it's just the way I am. And just to say, with this new setup on my YouTube at the moment, the last episode has had 3,000 views again, same as the week before. Although it's less than that people are actually viewing the whole thing. But then, you've got to expect that. But we're getting views at least, so we're getting out there, and hopefully we'll get some more recognition. Any news on what you mentioned about the Amazon thing this week, didn't you? About putting it on there. Did you do anything more about that?
Yeah, I'm dealing with that now. I've got to go through some procedures with it.
Oh, brilliant! Well, I appreciate you looking at that.
I should know about end of the week.
Brilliant.
I just started sort of tried putting it through the other day. They're quite strict actually. I've been watching videos on it, but hopefully it should clear.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. That's really kind of you. So, like I said, we're getting out there. We're on 3 different formats. We're on the podcast for the MP3, YouTube as well, and hopefully on Amazon as well. So let's get some episodes out there. Shall we at this point go into the news? You ready for the news?
Yes, yeah, we've got quite. I think we managed to squeeze the bottle this week, and something dropped out.
Brilliant. Well, let's get it dropping. Here we go. Here's the jingle.
Working.
So the Sci-Fi
News.
Okay, what news have you got this week? That didn't sound right at all.
Yeah, we've got a younger Uhura.
Right.
In Star Trek: Strange New Worlds.
Right, that sounds interesting.
And Jake Cannavale as Ensign Kirk or Lieutenant Kirk.
Yeah. So, now we talked about this before we started recording, so I'm aware of this actor. He appeared in an episode of The Mandalorian. I think the episode's called The Gunslinger.
Yes.
And his role in that seemed quite fine. I can't see much of a physical resemblance to Captain Kirk, whether it be William Shatner or Christopher Pine. But one thing that annoys me about Christopher Pine is that William Shatner's eyes are green and Christopher Pine's eyes are blue. So I always thought it was strange that Captain Kirk's eye colour changed in the Kelvin universe. Did you not notice that? I did. No, I did. I wondered that.
So you're telling me you're watching Captain Kirk, Captain Pike, Strange New Worlds, right?
Yeah.
And you're sat there thinking, no, he's got green eyes. No.
I don't know why.
It just infuriates.
I don't know why. His eye. I mean, Leela in Doctor Who, her eyes changed from green to brown at one point as well. So it does happen.
Oh, for God's sake! Are you for real?
No, it is. It is, and apparently it's because the actress couldn't stand the contact lenses. So and then it was in the episode with the lighthouse where she looks up and something happens and then her eye colour changes, and they just did that as an excuse. Sorry, I don't know why.
Well, I can undo all that. Because it's the 21st century, it might be fashionable to have your eyes change different colours.
Yeah. It could be like tattoos today or something. Apparently, you can get eyeball tattoos. You can actually make the whites. No, you can make the whites of your eyes. You can make them like green or black or something. You can get ink, and I'm not a big fan of tattoos myself. I haven't got any myself. Fair enough if you like them, but it's just not for me. Fair enough. It's just individual preferences. But the idea of eyeball tattoos and having black eyes is probably the most disgusting thing I've ever thought of. I mean, contact lenses are bad enough. I wouldn't want to put a contact lens on my eyeballs. I don't know. I mean, and you get like in Star Trek, like Deanna Troi, Marina Sirtis, her eyes are brown, but in the show, her eyes are black because she wore contact lenses.
If you walked into a tattoo parlour, I've got a thing about needles. I don't want them near me. That's all. I hate them. Even when they inject me with something, I'm like a screaming girl.
Right.
Honestly, I don't like them. And the scene in First Contact with Picard and that needle going into his eye, that freaks me out.
Oh, that's horrible.
Me out. Yeah. I can handle a head being decapitated in the Thing and Predator or whatever. Don't bother me.
Yeah.
But when I see that needle going into his eye when they're making him into a bog, every time I flinch.
Oh, and the eyes actually bulge slightly as the needle actually pierces the pupil. It's really quite gross, actually.
Yes, yeah.
So, what did you think of the Icheb scene recently then in Star Trek Picard, where he's got his Borg eyepiece pulled out of his skull?
I just freaked out at that. There's a lot of people weren't happy about that. I poor Icheb.
I didn't know it was him.
I'm still quite annoyed about that.
I didn't know it was him. I didn't know it was him. Which is, I didn't recognise it. The actor was so different from the other actor, the original actor.
Yeah.
That I didn't know that was Icheb, and it would have made it more of a significant. It was just this gross out scene. What a stupid thing to do. I mean, he wasn't a strong character. I know that.
Well, but, I'm hoping Pike ain't gonna be like this.
Yeah, but it's CBS. I mean, it might be F-bombs every 10 seconds.
Well, have you not heard the rumours that Netflix is trying to buy CBS?
But CBS has just merged with Paramount.
Yeah, well, Netflix been sniffing around. I read an article on Facebook. I don't know if it's real, but apparently they might be trying. I think they're trying to buy it. Netflix.
Well, maybe.
So Amazon are buying all cinemas up now.
Yeah, well, this is interesting because I really interested in what's going to be happening with the future of cinemas. I think that we have talked about this before, but I do think that cinemas will never be the same again in the future.
No.
And I think what will happen is that when a film comes out, it will come out exactly the same time on streaming. So you can either pay for it to see it at the cinema, or you can pay to download a MKV version of it or an MP4 version of it for your computer or for your TV.
Yeah, only cinema fanatics are going to go to the cinema.
Yeah,
most people are going to stay at home and pay for it
because they've got the big TVs. Don't forget, a lot of people are buying really big flash TVs because they've got no money to spend and stuff. So, or a lot of people's home systems now, home cinema systems, are going to be better now than they even compared to 5-10 years ago. I mean, you've recently got a new TV. Mine's a 48-inch, 50 inch, quite a big one, and it's brilliant. You watch the film, it's fantastic. So I don't know, it's interesting. So, but then of course, if you do that, then of course illegal copies of films will get out there quicker as well. So it might hurt the cinema industry.
Well, I don't watch such things. I mean, I don't.
No, of course not. But what I'm saying is...
They just appear on my monitor from nowhere.
They get beamed in, don't they? But it is. So, and then someone forces you to move your head towards the screen to watch it. But no,
my elbow accidentally hits the mouse.
Yes, which accidentally hits the play, and then it's sort of like strange.
Oh, it's there. What to do?
But no, I mean, you wonder whether this could be the beginnings of the death of cinema, and maybe it'll be more in the future. It'll be more just TV movies rather than the grand, epic idea of going with a cinema hot dogs and popcorn, watching a film in a dark room with lots of people. It's interesting.
Yeah.
I'd love to sort of come back in 10 years' time and see. What's going on.
We'll come back to this in a few months' time and see what happens.
Yeah, we could do. I mean, interesting. So we've got a bit off topic, haven't we? What were we talking about before that?
Yeah. Jake Cannavale and the new horror.
Right. So, we talked about the actual... we talked about eyeballs, weren't we, in the end? And that's... I don't know what happened there. It's interesting. I don't know much about this new... But it's nice we're starting to hear nuggets of information about characters appearing in this series. I know that they are wanting to get back the Anson Mount as Pike, and I think that's important. If his role, what would you feel if they found out that Anson Mount wasn't coming and it's going to be a different actor playing Pike? Would you be disappointed about that?
No, Anson Mount is Pike. I'd be so extremely annoyed. It's got to be Anson Mount. Anson Mount is an exemplary actor, and. I've got him on Facebook, and he talks to the fans and he puts videos up and he gets right into it. He's a really nice guy.
Yeah, I've seen that, and I saw him last year in Birmingham, and although I didn't talk to him personally, he did seem as I think he really loves the whole thing. I think he's really into it, so that's really good.
You see, I'm going to say I was talking about Discovery with my friend on Monday,
right,
and. He's fed up with it. He don't mind it, but the Burnham thing, it's like everything is about her.
Yes, she's the focus of the story.
All the cosmic events of the galaxy are all focused on her.
That's right.
And for the first 2 episodes, like you go back to the first season, it's all about her causing that war and all that. It's all right, you're floating along with it, but the minute Jason Isaac turns up, the whole series changes.
Actually, I hadn't thought about that. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah.
And then it happens in the second season. You go through 1 or 2 episodes, it's all about Herd and all this. But as soon as Anson Mount walked onto that bridge, the entire series changed.
Yeah, I agree.
So they've gone about it in the wrong way. It should be about the captain, he's the heart, and then everything around him. Not about one of the crew,
who's had a bit of a dodgy background.
I'm not a big... I like Bernard, but I'm just fed up of everything being about
Well, all the other Star Trek series, and also Pike, it was mainly focusing on him, really, as well. Pre-CBS, the other Star Trek series were more ensemble. Yes, the original series was focusing on Kirk, Spock, and McCoy, but even then, 3 people to mainly focus on, I think it's better than just one main character. Like I said, I am actually warming a bit more to CBS's Discovery now. The second time round, it's very different. It's very different from previous Star Trek series, but it has got some pros and cons. I like Saru. I think Saru is a great character. I
love that character.
He's one of my favourite characters on the show. He's a proper human condition alien character, and he works for me.
He looks like he's so alien in it as well.
Yeah.
His body's so weird.
I know.
He's so like he's just weird. I love Saru.
Saru's very good.
Captain.
Yeah. Well, we don't know yet. I mean, technically, isn't he the highest ranked officer in the beginning of season 3?
He is.
So
he will be the captain.
He will be at least be an acting captain, surely. So that'd be interesting.
Yes.
And that's really good because he's one of the best characters. So that's a hopeful sign. But going to Picard again, it was mainly. I wasn't a big fan of any of the other recurring characters on Picard at all, quite frankly. So and of course Patrick Stewart was brilliant, but I've got a lot of issues with Picard, as I've said before, and I hope that things will improve. At least for me, like I said, we're both Star Trek fans, but we all like different aspects of Star Trek. Just because you like the same genre, it doesn't mean you like exactly the same things.
Yeah, but I accept you can't go back to what came 20 years before. You've got to move on, and but you can still keep the heart of it in there of what it's about.
Yeah,
and I find that they're lacking that a bit somehow.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it feels too far removed for me.
Yeah,
and that's
I get where you're coming from with that. But I've got Star Trek in my blood, and it'd take a lot for me to walk away from it.
Oh, me too. I mean, I'm not bothered about this cartoon Lower Decks thing. I'm not really bothered.
I've got that on the news, actually. I've got that on the news.
All right, what's that you got?
The lower, it's on a site called Inverse.
Okay.
Can't wait for Star Trek Discovery season Picard. What about season 2? Well, before those happen, there's a very good chance that CBS All Access next trip into the final frontier will be the new animated Star Trek Lower Decks.
Right.
But what is Lower Decks? It is a comedy. Is it Rick and Morty meets Star Trek? It's a prequel to Picard, a sequel to The Next Gen. And most importantly, here's everything we know about Lower Decks. Lower Decks is an upcoming animated series set in the Star Trek universe. The tone of the series, light and comedic, will follow the adventures of junior Starfleet officers on the starship USS Cerritos. The builders of the comedy showrunner Matt Mann says it will nonetheless tackle real science fiction stories. Matt Mann elaborated at this point in an interview with Inverts. We all have the problem that a regular Star Trek show would have, which is don't do any episodes that they've already done across the series and moving on top of that. You don't want to do a separate episode that happens to accidentally be similar to Stargate, Atlantis or to Farscape.
Right. Okay.
We've got all that time. What we're trying to do is new and interesting, and it fits into canon. That means they're not going to do anything new then.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that?
I'm a bit underwhelmed. I mean, I've only seen about 2 episodes of Star Trek the animated series, which featured almost all of the original cast. I've heard it's got some good. I saw the one with the giant tribbles. I think it was. There was some giant tribbles. Yeah. Have you seen the original series TAS? Sagittarius.
Yeah.
Have you seen them all?
All of it, yeah. I've not watched it in a while. I'm sort of in and out with animated series.
Yeah, I think that I'm not a big animated fan of science fiction, and it's strange because, you know, I need to see the Star Wars. I like CGI more than cartoon animations, but I need to see the Star Wars prequel and Rebels and Clone Wars, and also the only animated sci-fi series I liked was the Ulysses series, but I saw that 25 years ago. So going back to your question, I don't know if it gets good word of mouth. If maybe you see some episodes and say it's worth checking out, then I might do it. But I wasn't really focusing on watching it in particular, quite frankly.
I'm looking at. There's a picture of some animation. If that's a picture of it, I'm not impressed with it.
No, I don't know. It's one of those. I mean, what time period is it set?
I think it's set before Next Generation.
Okay, so what in between Next Generation and the original series, you mean? Something?
Yeah, it's in between TOS and Next Generation, yeah. I think it's a few years before Next Gen. It looks like they've got similar uniforms on Next Gen, but the animation's like something you'd watch on Kids Channel.
Yeah, I think it looks a bit too kiddie for me. Yeah,
that's what I mean. I don't... But I like animated science fiction, you know, I like Clone Wars and stuff like that because it's brilliant, but... If it had been more like a more serious tone with some great artwork, I might have been interested. But I'm gonna take a look, but I'm not.
Yeah, I think I feel the same kind of thing. I mean, like I said, I will watch Clone Wars because it looks like a proper, well thought out. Although it's animated, it's got good sci-fi storylines.
I really do envy you because you've got 7 seasons of absolute wonderfulness to sit through.
Yeah,
I mean, you won't be able to turn it. It goes very quick. It's very compact. And there's everything going off from everywhere, and it all concludes to a big build-up. But now they've extended another new season to it, which is even better. And honestly, I recommend you start watching that as quick as possible.
Yeah, and I'm still going.
Turn it on.
Well, I'm doing Space Above and Beyond at the moment. So once I've done that, then I'll do Clone Wars, and then I'll do Rebels afterwards. So are you saying that Clone Wars? I mean, they've just finished a season. Are you saying there's going to be another new season?
Yeah, no. When Disney Plus started, there was 6 seasons. They tried getting rid of it, actually. Season 6 is about 14 episodes, but Season 6 is... they never released it in this country. I had to order Season 6 from Europe.
Oh, okay.
It was shown on the networks, but it wasn't released.
You couldn't get a copy of it? Okay.
Yeah, so I got a copy, and Season 6 was mind-blowing. It goes into the real aspects of the wills and the powers of the universe in the style. It's very well put together.
All right. I'll trust your opinion.
It could have finished there, but I've seen 4 episodes, seen 7, but Disney Plus is only releasing 1 a week, so I don't want to touch it until I get to the final episode, and then I'll sit through it all. But
I mean, the thing is, I know that it's already be available in America, but the same with the Mandalorian. Has the Mandalorian now finally finished in the UK now? Can you actually see the whole series of that now?
I think so. Yes.
Only just recently, and it's crazy. Yeah. When you know, a lot of people were seeing it back in November, December last year, and it's now May. But there you go. I don't know why they're doing it that way. So I know that the Clone Wars season 7 has finished in America, and that is the last season. I think it's at the point where it's. Anakin becomes Darth Vader, which I think is the end of the Clone Wars.
On trekmovie.com, CBS pitches Patrick Stewart's Star Trek Picard cast and crew for Emmy nominations. Well, some fence about that.
Yeah, well, no. Why? I mean, I just... Like I said, I think there's a lot of problems. I mean, I am going to be fair. I'm going to give it another rewatch. But like I said, I just found the whole series a big disappointment, quite frankly. So,
for me, when you got past episode 8, went down toilet.
Yeah, well,
because everything it were building to with the android thing and all that, they just wrote it off. They just wrote it off. It was like this big conspiracy, and it were going somewhere. Then suddenly it tanked.
Yeah, but then
episode 8.
But then doesn't it make all the build-up completely pointless?
Yeah, that's what I thought. So I thought the ending the beginning to the build-up.
I mean, if it had built up at the end of the last scene, we suddenly saw Law with all these synths that we weren't aware of, and he's going to say like he did with the Borg in Descent Part 1, Season 6 TNG, where he said he's going to he's going to attack the Federation with the Borg, and it's going to be, and it was nothing. It was just fizzled out. And it was, and then Data and Picard died, and then we saw Data, but it was I thought it was crap. I'm sorry, I thought it was a poor series. I just think that the series wasn't properly thought through. I think Patrick Stewart got offered a lot of money to do it, and he had some input. And although Patrick Stewart is a fine actor, he's not a science fiction writer, and I don't think he quite gets what Star Trek's about. He sees it. You know what I mean?
I've got some Mandalorian news.
Oh, I've read some, but go for it. What have you got?
Mandalorian finds its live-action Bo-Katan in Katie Sackhoff from Battlestar Galactica Starbuck.
I saw that yesterday.
Brilliant.
Apparently,
superb actress.
Yes, and I saw in that film that I told you about, 2038, whatever it was, the one I mentioned last week, and she was quite good in that. Yeah, great. Get some well-known, and also the actor who played Boba Fett is back as well. Apparently, Boba Fett's going to be in season 2, but in a small role. He would have escaped what's the pit called that supposed to gobble him up in Return of the Jedi?
The what?
The actual pit, the thing with the tentacles that he fell down.
Oh, the Sarlacc.
Sarlacc, that's it. So apparently he must have escaped from that, which is quite interesting.
Well, it said, according to film, Sackhoff, who voiced the Mandalorian warriors in Star Wars The Clone Wars, Star Wars Rebel, multiple sources have confirmed that Sackhoff will reprise her Bo-Katan role in the Disney series. This site also reports Sackhoff filmed her role back in February before the shutdown due to COVID-19.
Yeah. Because I read that they did finish production of all the scenes for The Mandalorian season 2.
Right.
So which is wonderful news, because it means then although it might slow them down, we will get season 2 of The Mandalorian, which is fantastic. Because I remember that they were filming it before they had even shown season 1. And of course the whole series has been such a big success with the sci-fi community, and most people singing its praises, and I'm definitely one. I was absolutely blown away by The Mandalorian last year. Yes, some of the episodes were a bit short, but in the end, it was, I don't know how long the entire duration of season 1 was. It's probably only about 4 or 5 hours. It wasn't that long, really, but it was like an extra long sort of, I think of it as almost like an extra film of Star Wars film. It was that the production value was so good. I could sit through the whole thing if they just chopped it all together and just had the whole thing for about 5 hours. I could sit there and watch the whole thing and be very entertained. Definitely, they should do that. They should make a sort
Mandalorian has been the best thing this year.
Last year.
Again.
There's been nothing this year. Well, this year we had season 12 of Doctor Who, didn't we? So, and that was and Picard. We had Picard this year.
All right. Yeah, well, Mandalorian's been the best thing
in the
recent 6 months.
The last year, the two top things for me were The Mandalorian and the Orville season 2, which I thought was fantastic.
Yes, and we want Orville season 3.
Oh, well, it's stuck. It's stuck in the middle. I think I've only done 6 episodes or something, so we will get something. But like I said, we're all in lockdown, and it's all a bit of a nightmare.
Have you got any more news?
No, I was going to mention the Katie Battlestar actress, but you've already pipped me to the post for that one, which is fine.
I apologise.
No, that's fine. It's not a competition. It's all about news. Let me have one quick look at the sites before we disappear. But I think that's probably it, because, like I said, our news is a bit few and far between, given our respective confinements, shall we say. Let's open the page very quickly. Let's see if it does it. Let's have a look. Doctor Who fans can video conference from the TARDIS. I don't know what that is. Silence of the Lambs sequels series, Clarice moving forward. They're going to make a sequel to Silence of the Lambs. I was never a big fan of Silence of the Lambs originally. No. I thought it was quite a nasty film. It just didn't click with me. I do want to see the sequel to The Shining, though, with Ewan McGregor. I've not seen that yet. That looks like
that had been and gone, that.
Yeah, that's actually been released, but I'm just saying that for me, it's something I've not seen yet. That is old news. But I think just the sequel of this other one, it made me think of that. No, nothing else. My end news-wise.
I've got some comic news I forgot to mention. Henry Cavill is returning. They've cancelled the Supergirl movie, and they're doing another Man of Steel. He's back as Superman, which I think is a great decision.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So that's it, really. There's nothing. It's yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously all the films that we know are still on hold. Ghostbusters and Bill and Ted, and because the Avatar film was supposed to come out in December, wasn't it? Avatar 2. So
was it?
Yeah, you know they're going to make Avatar 2 and 3 or something.
I know. I thought that was like a year ago. I didn't know they'd finished it.
Well, no, I thought originally it was supposed to be out in December 2020, but God knows what's going to come out now.
Right. Well, I'm not bothered about that. Are you going to see that?
Well, I don't know. It depends on what cinema's like, if and when it's released. I don't know. I did like the first one, although it was too long. It shouldn't have been one of the biggest films ever, in my opinion. It was a bit overrated. I like it, but I do think it got a bit overrated, personally. So yes. I didn't dislike it. I thought it was good. It was a good concept, but it was. They could have chopped out, I think, about 3/4 of an hour of it, and I think it would have, at least for me, flowed a bit better. It was a bit too long, but there we go. Right, after that, I think we shall go into our Focus of the Week. Are you ready?
Of course.
Here we go.
It's the
Solar Sci-Fi
Focus of the Week.
All right, so it's a film review this week, rather than a series. I said to Martin that we should do this occasionally because there's a lot of good films out there, and we are going to focus on all the big ones as well at some point. But today, for some reason, I think we were talking about Tom Cruise last week, about a couple of films he did in the sci-fi genre. One, obviously, was War of the Worlds, but this was another one which I saw a few years ago, and I liked it. I thought it was pretty good, and it was the 2013 film Oblivion, which I did like. I'll give you a quick description on the Wikipedia. It says Oblivion is a 2013 American post-apocalyptic action-adventure co-produced by and directed by Joseph Kosinski, starring Tom Cruise in the main role, with some other people. Oblivion, based on Kosinski's unpublished graphic novel of the same name, pays homage to 1970s science fiction films. Oblivion takes place in 2077 on an Earth devastated by war with extraterrestrials. I didn't know that. That caused humanity to relocate itself to Titan. The following film follows the story of Jack Harper, a technician who's been sent back to Earth to service drones used in the fight against the remaining extraterrestrials. Well, they're not extraterrestrial, they're human. That doesn't make sense. Scavengers, after witnessing a spacecraft crash, which he's able to rescue a survivor. Harper is captured by scavengers and fights against a new and evolving alien threat. That's not right. That's not aliens. They're human.
Yeah, but that was the twist in the film, wasn't it?
Was it? I can't remember. But tell me what you thought about it.
What of Oblivion?
Yeah, or the film.
Right, it did say that on the what you just read. It did say that on the. I've got it on Blu-ray, and it does say that. And when you saw the trailer of it, it was like you thought, because there were scavengers and they were meant to, because they were like aliens after the aliens lost the war. This is where it had you thinking that there was still a few running about in a devastated Earth, you know.
Right. Yeah.
And then when he meets them, they end up being survivors of humanity, and then he finds out what's been going on about. I'll let you explain the rest from there about what Tom Cruise actually is, you know.
Well, I know that he's a copy, isn't he? He's a clone, isn't he? He's a clone, isn't it? So, to be honest with you, I need to see the end of it, and I ran out of time, so I saw about 3/4 of it. So, I know that he gets involved because he discovers that there are lots of stations the same as him all over his part of the planet. Yeah. But remind me, because I can't remember actually, because like I said, unfortunately just ran out of time.
Well, he says that he ends up where that, obviously what you said earlier on, he finds a life pod and that woman's in it.
That's right, and that was his wife, wasn't it? In a black.
Yes.
When I assume that's when he was originally the original character before he was cloned, and she was as well. Is that right?
Yeah, but he was on a deep space mission going to Titan or somewhere in that converted shuttle.
Right.
And he got a call from NASA saying something's entered the solar system. Can you go and investigate? And that was that computer thing. I forgot what it was called, the TIT or something, or TEAK. It's called something like that. And he goes and investigates. Well, it clones him into millions of versions of him and that crew, doesn't it, or something? And they all come out as a big army, don't they?
That's right.
And that's it. And then it's set 60 years on.
Right.
And they all run a territory to run the machines that are extracting stuff from Earth to feed that thing out in space. That's the basics of it. And he goes up and drops a nuke on it at end and big humanity speech. And but he's a bit malfunctioned because he's got that place with a record player.
That's right. That's sort of like a hidden area.
Yeah, and another version of him turns up at end and he meets his wife and it all begins again. It's all wonderful and happy and they have kids and open a pub and life goes on. It's wonderful.
Yeah, it certainly was an interesting film. But I just remember that, like I said, I wish I'd seen the end of it now because it was a long time ago I saw it. But I did think that it was a good sort of concept. I like the idea of it.
The film is spectacular. The scope of it, I find it's a very intelligent film. Even when you find out it's a clone, and that it's a great concept for a movie.
Yeah,
it really. I loved it. It's a weird film as well. I put it up there with Arrival and Interstellar. People might not go, but I put it up there as a very intelligent, very good film.
Yeah,
it's quality.
Yeah, and it's one of those things which good sci-fi always makes you think, and I think that's why sci-fi fans can be quite a tough crowd when it comes to things. That's why we're very opinionated about things. But I think as you say, the production values were very, very good, and I just think that Tom Cruise is one of those actors that a lot of people either love or loathe. I don't love him, but I've always enjoyed films which feature him. And I was looking forward to the new Top Gun film this year, which again has been postponed. But I think it was a good, solid film. I think they couldn't do a sequel to it either, could they? I mean, it's a standalone sort of story, really. So, but it's a good film. Yeah. It's a good film. Did you like that? Go on.
It is a standalone story, and that is what's so good about it. I agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you like what did you think about the special effects, like the apocalyptic Earth? Did you think it was all done very well? Because I think it did. I think it looked there's some great scenes where you see like Washington, and it's all sort of you can see familiar landmarks all sort of skew with and damage. Do you like apocalyptic films yourself?
Yeah, I do, as long as they've got a positive outcome.
Oh, really? So you're not so a bigger fan if it's like a negative ending kind of thing?
Well, I am with some of them, but I want a bit of hope in there. We were on about a couple of months ago. What were we talking about? I think there were one or two films we were on. Soylent Green were one. I know you're a big fan of that. I found out because I watched it before we did it, and I was absolutely bloody depressed.
Well, I remember you saying about that. But that made it more iconic. That the fact is that the world is really dying and they're all doomed. And to me, I don't know whether a happy ending or a sad ending will change my perspective of the film.
I'm a big fan of Logan's Run, and I find Oblivion had that sort of feel to it, of this strange.
Do you know what I was thinking? I was just thinking about Logan's Run at the end when they escaped. I was just thinking that. So that's great. When I was thinking that's the next film I was thinking of. I know. That's what made me think about. You just talked about the end of this film, where it's got a positive ending, and how different that is from something like Logan's Soylent Green, where the planet's doomed.
Yeah, I think sometimes, you need to. And sometimes, depending on the political situation, whatever's going on in the world, I think when you go see a film, and you go and see one of these hyper intelligent masterpieces of a movie, and it's a right depressing, and it's like Planet of the Apes too. The original. But what's beautiful about that is that voice at the end. And,
the end of the world.
Yeah, it was completely insignificant, and it blew up, and that was it. It was gone.
That's it. And then he had this weird narrator said, "Once upon a time there was a planet called Earth, and now the Earth is gone. The end." It was really weird ending. It was really
it was like 40,000 years of blood and struggle and death and civilizations and empires falling, and it all came down to, well, it's gone now. Fuck it, the universe.
Can you imagine coming out of the cinema after watching Planet of the Apes 2? And and like, you know, you're watching it and everything, like, you see these sort of evolved humans that are telepathic, and then you suddenly see Charlton Heston's character comes back, and then they fight, and then in the end he gets shot, and then he plunges his hand on the Amiga destructive bomb, and then you get that narration. Can you imagine coming out of the cinema at the end of that? It's like, what the hell was that? I still like that.
What I mean, you've got a load of insane humans worshipping a nuclear bomb, like, you know, and all comes the holy fallout, and he just looks at it and goes, fuck him. And then that voice comes in.
It was the voice at the end. It was the voice.
In one of the countless billions of galaxies in the universe lies a medium-sized star. And one of its satellites, a green and insignificant planet, is now dead.
It was so monotone as well. It was almost like once upon a time there was a planet called Earth. Now that planet is gone. It was like, what?
Yeah, but it's just like, well, nobody's going to remember that lot then.
No, exactly. And then they came back with the next one, which is a time travel one, which is a bit of fun. I mean, I love. We've got to do Planet of the Apes at some point, because I love those films.
Definitely. I got a lot to. I love that. I think we should do each movie as well separately.
Yeah. Well, that's going to give us a lot of episodes. That's going to be another 5, and then we could focus on the remakes. They're technically loose sequels, aren't they, or prequels? I
got this lunatic theory that when Taylor first went, and they penetrated the light barrier with the photon drive, and when the Earth blew up in number 2, what happened? It created what's that one? I can't say that.
Anomaly.
One of them, and I can't say it. It really annoys me.
Try and say it again.
An anomaly. I can't fucking say it. Well, it opened. I can tell. Paradox. I'll pass around it with paradox, right? And that it opened it up to multiple timelines.
Multiverse.
So every Planet of the Apes film is connected, because somewhere in space, wherever you go through, everybody, because in the Mark Wahlberg one, it's expanding around that space station, and everybody goes in, and it's multiple timelines, interdimensional and all that. Yeah, that's my theory. I've made that up, but
but there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, obviously we're straying from Oblivion, but yeah, I love Planet of the Apes, and I did like the series, and there was one other one, because they made the about 3 recently. There was one in between the classics and these ones, and I remember I didn't like that one very much, but I saw that one a long time ago.
I was a bit disappointed with the third one. I felt a bit lackluster, the third one.
You mean the newer ones? You mean?
Yeah. I enjoyed them, but they weren't the original.
But the original one, the third one, is a really negative factor as well, because Caesar got shot.
Well, yeah, and it wasn't that. It's like the entire human, but the entire human army turned up and got squashed by a landslide.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't know.
I want positivity.
Well, okay, Oblivion. Okay, it ended on a positive note. So basically, he had children and stuff, and he had his wife, and humanity was technically saved. They couldn't get very big because they were in a small area, but it was a positive thing. I just think the Oblivion was a very, very good film to watch.
And don't forget, the voice of God was in that film as well.
Oh, Morgan Freeman.
Of course.
Yes, he was. He
got to me.
He's got such a distinctive voice, but when you watch it, you hear his voice.
To God, don't. That's what they call him. It's always big voice to God in movies.
I thought it's James Earl Jones. He's Darth Vader, isn't James Earl Jones, isn't he?
Yeah, he was God in the 80s.
So it's like Morgan Freeman took over in the noughties or whatever, I think. Yeah, because also Morgan Freeman did the intro to War of the Worlds, which also featured Tom Cruise at the beginning. He did that no one would have believed in the first years of the 21st century, but humans were being watched, and like the regular adapted text that you get in all the War of the Worlds versions and stuff. So yeah, Morgan Freeman is definitely like James Earl Jones, and of course James Earl Jones he even played an Unas in Stargate SG-1, which is quite surprising.
No,
he did. He played if you watch the very first episode of season 1, where we see the very first Unas, where Teal'c is trapped and he can't leave, and it's in this sort of Thor's hammer. I actually remember the episode. If you hear the voice, obviously it's not the actor, but you hear the voice, it's James Earl Jones.
Doing these podcasts with you, I have to say, come out with these little fascinating snippets of information.
Oh, you two do.
Of where somebody would not notice. It's like the eyes today when you mentioned about their eyes and that. Yeah. It's like you these interesting small things, but that they end up being quite big, and you've got a logical point to it. It goes past me. It goes past me because when you tell me, I start researching it.
Yeah.
I watched the episode of whatever it was. I need to know.
I don't know if James Earl Jones was uncredited in that Stargate episode, but it definitely is his voice. If you watch the episode, it's very distinctive. But I don't know how I knew about it. I don't know if he was in the credits as well. I don't know. But anyway, going back to that, it's interesting how we can. I mean, I think we're both teaching each other different facts about stuff, which is what part of the fun of doing the podcast is. So there we are. We've learnt something today about eyes and voices and God knows what else, and an optimistic ending on sci-fi films, which Martin tends to prefer. So, but it's like I recently saw again The Mist, which I thought was a great. I like the original film, not the TV remake, but that has a really downbeat ending with most of the cast and stuff like that. But I still think that's a very good film. So I don't know whether always an optimistic version or ending of a film works for me. I don't know.
Before we move on, have you seen that science fiction film? It's been advertised. I think they made a sequel to it where it's about these people living somewhere but they can't make a noise because these things attack you. I've not seen it.
I have seen it. What's it called? God, I can't remember it.
Well, there's a sequel to it now.
I've not seen the sequel. The original one is very good.
Any of it. I just wondered if you'd seen it.
I have seen it. I liked it. If I can, I'll talk to you about that after we've recorded this.
Yes.
I'll need to find that because it's Is it Sandra Bullock's in that one? Is it Sandra Bullock's in that one?
I don't know. I remember the trailer for it. It's one of them films that left impact on my mind when I watched it because you couldn't make a noise at all. Because these things get you.
And one of them says they have a baby as well, and it's and of course they're trying to keep the baby quiet. And I think it's Alien. It's very good. It's a good. It's sort of sci-fi horror kind of thing, which I like.
Is that a positive?
I can't tell you because otherwise you might not watch it if it's negative. So
all right.
Hang on. I'm just trying to see who it is. What the name of the in there because I'm sure it's her that did it. Sandra Bullock. Let's just see what the name of the film was. I think it was her. Just wait a second.
If you want a very good film with a Superman twist,
Bird Box.
All right, I'll have a look at that. I might order it off Amazon actually.
I think Bird Box is the one. There's two films which are similar. 5 years after ominous unseen presence drives most society to suicide, a mother and her children make a desperate bid to reach safety. But is that the one with silence, though? I don't know if that is that one.
The film I do recommend you should get hold of is Brightburn.
Which one?
Brightburn.
Not heard of that.
It's imagine Kal-El, Superman, crashing on Earth, but being a horror movie where it's a child with them type of powers slaughtering everybody in the town.
Oh, okay, all right.
And there's no restrictions on his morality as a kid. And it's one of them. It's a gruesome film. That's all I'm going to say. I do recommend it. It only cost $5 million to make. It was a massive. It's called Brightburn. I do recommend it. It's like no moralistic core to Superman as a kid. It's like
okay.
It's nothing to do with comics. It's really good.
Right, I've worked it out. Sorry, I listened to what you're saying, but I've just got some information here. Bird Box isn't. That's the one where they can't look outside. They've got to be blind. They've got to be blindfolded.
Oh, yeah.
The one I'm talking
on
about,
Netflix.
yeah, and that's good. The one you're talking about is A Quiet Place.
Yes,
A Quiet Place, and that's the one. They've got similar, but one of them's got to be blindfolded. The other one's got to be quiet, but their stories are quite similar. A Quiet Place is the one you're talking about, and that's a very good film.
I've seen Bird Box. It freaked me out, didn't it?
Yeah, Bird Box is good as well. I like that. But A Quiet Place is the one you're talking about, so I'll tell you about that after we record that. So, just to finish off quickly, what are you saying about this film you're talking about again?
It's Brightburn. Imagine Superman as a kid, but with no moralistic centre or discipline.
Okay.
And he's doing what is a messed up kid with that kind of power. There's nothing to hold him back.
Oh, reminds me of
it's worth a look. You're gonna
reminds
see
me
it's
of
a gruesome film with this kid. They can't kill him, and he's doing all what Superman can do. But there's a great twist at the end.
Is it a new film? Is it quite new?
It came out last year. It cost $5 million to make. Basically, they've ripped off the Superman crashing into the farm as a kid, and he gets brought up, but he don't fit in at school, and then these powers activate. That's all I'm going to say.
How do you spell it again? Because I can't hear.
It's called Brightburn. Brightburn.
Brides, as in brides are getting married?
Burn. B-U-R-N.
Brides burn.
Yeah.
Bridesburg. Who's in it? Anybody famous?
Oh, Brightburn.
No, I know, but I'm typing in bride burn, but I can't see it.
No, brides.
Oh, Brightburn. Oh, sorry, I couldn't hear you. It sounds like it's in bride, as in like a bride getting married. Here we are, Brightburn. Let's have a look at this quickly. 2019. What if a child from another world crash land on Earth, but instead of becoming a hero? Oh, that looks good.
I'll tell you, you won't be. You'll be watching that, you'll be jumping out of your seat.
All right.
Okay. And what makes it more scary is because it's a kid.
Yeah, all right, I'm up for that.
Trust me, you're going to be like, wow.
All right, okay, right. I'll see about looking for where it's available. Is it on Netflix? Is it on? Was it a film or what?
I think it was at the cinema. It should be. I know you can buy it now, but it should. Well, it might just mysteriously appear on your monitor one afternoon.
You never know. Okay,
yes.
well, let's see if we can have a look at that one. That might be worth a chat.
Yes.
So let's finish off this focus. So Oblivion. So you do rate it as a good film, and you recommend it to people to see.
I put it up there with Interstellar. I'll probably get shot down for this. Interstellar and Arrival. I put it up there with them.
Yeah, I liked both of those films as well, actually. And it does have a similar feel in some ways to both of those films. So I agree. Thank you, Marty, for that. That was a good review. I know we went a bit in the tangent, but that's fun. We're just, it's a sci-fi podcast, so we can talk about the things we like. On that note, then, do you want to... I'm not sure what you're doing this week, but do you want to go into your...
I'm doing part 2 of last week.
Oh, right. Okay.
And I've got it all, and... yeah.
Okay, well, let's hit the jingle, and let's just... see what Marty comes up with this week. Here we go.
Predator versus...
Ho, ho, ho.
Green Giant.
Okay, Martin, go for it.
Right, last week Flash got returned back to Mongo, and Ming is back from the dead, but in a secret bunker. Flash is flying around. He's heard rumours of the land of the Munchkin people, little people, that are being dominated by a 1,000-foot mutant giant called the Jolly Green Giant.
Okay.
And he's enslaved a peaceful race to feed him, because he's got a thing where if he gets bigger, he's going to enslave the whole of Mongo. And Ming actually had a countermeasure against this in his laboratory, where Zarkov has got this. But meanwhile, the Predator's dad, whose son had a contract with Ming to knock off Flash, has turned up on Mongo to take out Flash Gordon for revenge for killing his son with the Hawk cycle. So, Flash, Baron and Voltan all fly off with Dale to the Munchkin land, the land of the Jolly Green Giant. Now, the Jolly Green Giant is 1,000 foot tall. And he's going to conquer. He can't move at the moment because he needs to get bigger. And they're all feeding him everything in this land because it's like magic food or whatever. It's got some sort of radiation in it.
Right.
And he's threatening that. No, well, Ming never attacks him because if he farted, right?
Yeah.
he could create a gas cloud coming out of his ass that kill millions of Mongo.
Okay.
Right, if he farts, right. So this is it. Now, when he has a big dump, what they do is they put it back into land at Munchkin land, so then so he can eat. So it's a never repeating cycle, but he's going to take over Mongo and he's going to eat everybody. So anyway, Flash finds out and he goes off. But Zarkov gives them a device, and he says this is a countermeasure against him just in case. So they go along anyway. They're being stalked in another ship. It's invisible, and his predator's dead. The land in Munchkin land. Dale Voltan goes and gets an army. Prince Baron, he's like as backup. He's outside. And Flash goes in. Him and Dale's talking to like the Munchkin people, and they inspire him to rise up against the Jolly Green Giant. And Flash sort of goes up, and he's going to take it out. But in the meantime, some Munchkin people get slaughtered, and it's the Predators. These Predators like 8 foot, and like Flash gods, so they're going, fuck's sake, not again.
Yeah.
And this Predator's repeating, going like it's repeating stuff. He keeps repeating the Queen theme. Flash keeps like
Okay.
And suddenly Flash is like, oh fuck this. So they get into a big punch up, and Predator's fucking like throwing Flash about. And Flash, he's got this like rope round his leg, and he fires this rope out of his hand and ties Predator's legs. And he stands there with his disintegrator gun, going, look man, there's a bigger problem, because if this thing gets off the fucking planet, in the background you've got ho ho ho, and they're all singing Green Giant, all little Munchkin being worshipped to him. And Flash is going, I didn't kill you, son. He went after me. You've been used by fucking me. Anyway, the Predator's looking up, and a big fucking foot comes down and nearly squashes both, and Flash saves the Predator's life. And this makes them work together. Now, this is not Predator versus, it's sort of Predator versus Green Giant, Flash Gordon, but they all team up and kick its ass.
Right.
So anyway, Predator's like fucking turns around and it fucking fires it like a spear up at the bollocks of the Jolly Green Giant, and he's going, whoa, 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 like that. And his foot stands on a big house, and Flash gets on his sky cycle, fucking flies up. Well, anyway, Green Giant's like realising all Munchkin people throwing like spears at it, like Lilliputians and all that.
Yeah.
Like that. And Flash flies up, and he's got the miniaturizer atomizer, he's got a miniature atomizer paradox energy beam weapon, and he fucking fires it, and what happens is the Jolly Green Giant thinks he's going to let one off to kill everybody in the air. It's going to let a big fucking it's building to it.
Right.
So everybody's rebelled in the Munchkin land, and Flash Gordon Predator's there, and it gets on top of its like under its loincloth, fucking laser blasts its bollocks, and Green Giant jumping about, and Flash has fired this weapon, and the Jolly Green Giant gets shrunk. He gets shrunk, and he's about an inch tall, and Flash picks him up, and the Predator's gonna like put his foot and stand on it. Flash goes, no, we're better than this. And Predator's like, and he drops him in a tin, and on it says Jolly Green Giant, and he closes the tin, and he's got one of them little squeaky voices like, let me out, he's going, oh, them little fucking speeded up squeaky voices.
Yeah.
And Flash puts him in there and gives them to Munchkin people, and their job is to torment him forever. Now the Predator stands there and goes, you are one of you, and I understand now you killed my son, but you saved my life, so we're now equal. But the Predator says, since we're like debts have been repaid, you killed my son, you saved my life, and all this was equal, there will be another hunt on. But there's a sign of respect, and the Predator flies off in his spaceship.
Oh.
Stands there with the little Jolly Green Giant who's going to destroy Mongo. But this week it's a team up. So, but there will be an episode 3 to this, because it's not over.
It's not over, so it's a to be continued. So is he still called the Jolly Green Giant at this point, or has he got a new name?
The mini Green Giant.
The mini Green Giant. So is he not even? But is he jolly? He's not jolly anymore.
Well, would you be jolly being an inch tall stuff?
So he should be
in a jump yarn, getting the piss taken out of you. Would you be jolly?
Okay, well, this is certainly becoming. You should make this into a novel or something. You should sort of like get this released or something for people to buy.
Predator versus Jolly Green Giant. Next week it will be Rambo. We're going back to some hardcore Predator battles.
Okay.
What would you like to see Predator take on?
I don't know. No, let's go. We have talked about Rambo, haven't we? So let's do that. And this, like I said, this is something I'm getting at recently. I've been more into sort of just sitting back and letting you tell your story and seeing how it goes.
But you have a penchant to take up the really extreme weird characters. Like you had Predator versus Marvin the Paranoid Android, which
I know. Yes, I will.
And I'd like to see something on that level again.
Well, what we'll do next week, we'll either do your one, or I'll think of a equally interesting character for you to do, or we can do it together. Yeah, okay.
What about Predator versus the Supreme Dalek?
Or Predator versus Baldrick from Blackadder or something. That might be quite good.
Yep. Well, I make all the challenge to you to
Basil Fawlty. Oh, he's got to do something. Or Basil Fawlty or something. That might be quite good. Manuel. Oh yeah. Yeah, you got me. Yeah, it's got to be something from a comedy. Yeah, maybe so.
But next week it will be something serious. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. Well done for that, mate. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Very good.
A round of applause.
It's going in the background now. Talking of sound effects, you're very welcome. I've got a test for you before I go, and I'm going to play a sound which and it's going to be when I get a text on my iPhone, it's going to be a sound that plays, and I reckon. If you hear this and you recognise what it is, then I'm going to be impressed. Okay, so I'm going to play this and see if you recognise it. It only lasts for 1.5 seconds. Are you ready?
Yep.
Here we go.
Rent-A-Go.
Oh, God! I thought you'd be like, oh, I recognise that. I played it to somebody else this morning and he said, oh, he couldn't recognise it. Yes, Rent-A-Go. I just thought
we do a focus of the week on Rent-A-Go.
Ooh, well,
it's a British classic.
It's sort of fantasy.
Whenever.
Okay.
Not next, whenever. Well, you dig it.
We'll do it soon. Yeah, I mean, I'm up for anything. Like I said, it's just
that one.
Rent-A-Go. I mean, I actually watched a couple because I was looking for that sound effect to do this thing for my iPhone, and I finally, as you can tell, I managed to get a clean copy of it. It is one of the strangest series I've ever seen in my life. It is utterly bizarre. Completely, utterly bizarre.
Hey, Mr. Claypool died of AIDS, you know. He got HIV, Mr. Claypool.
Was he gay?
Yeah, Mr. Davenport, they got back at that time. I think he contracted AIDS. One of them did, yeah?
Yeah.
I didn't know. I read about it because I've got Rent-A-Gos. I picked up some pirate copies at this convention.
You got Rent-A-Gos, don't you?
Yeah, I know you can buy the first season, but they never released
the theme tune. The theme tune's playing in the background. Sorry, I had to put it on. Sorry.
Could you know when the Green Giant gets shrunk? Could you have that?
Oh, what he done? I could do the ho-ho, speed it up and make it sound like he's munchkin. Yeah, I could do that.
Yeah.
So when he shrinks, I won't do it too because don't forget the Predator's going to be having Queen doing Flash, trying to make it, and ho ho ho. So I'll do one sound effect of him shrunk at the end.
Could you send me a copy of that to Dropbox? That sound effect.
Yeah, if you want, of course you can.
I heard that in years.
You mean the one that I played last week? The one that I played last week. You want it again?
Do you remember poor Mr. Meeker? They used to do his edit, didn't they? That poor Mr. Meeker.
Oh yeah.
What did Rent-A-Ghost actually do? I mean, they had an office, didn't they?
I don't know what it was about. It was just. And it had this.
So awesome.
Yeah, I know. And the sound effects and stuff. And I thought I watched this and I thought I've got to make that into a text on my phone if I get a sort of like a ping.
That's awesome.
So I'm going to do that. I'll send you the sound effect. Have you got an iPhone or what have you got?
Have I got what?
iPhone.
No, I've got a Motorola.
Does that play MP3s as ringtones?
Yeah, it does.
Well, I can send you the MP3 then. Because to do iPhones, it's really complicated. You've got to convert it to M4R, and you've got to do all sorts of things. iPhones like I always do. When it comes to putting anything on your phone, like anything like music for iTunes, it's really, really hard and fiddly. It's not like that's the worst thing about. I love iPhones. I always had iPhones. But the one thing I hate is just trying to get things onto your phone to personalise it. It's really hard to do that. Apple don't like you changing anything on your phone. And I'm not talking about jailbreaking either. I'm just talking about basic things like sound effects or music and stuff. So that's my only criticism. Right, on that note, I'm babbling on. Anything else before we finish the show today?
Yeah, I think we've covered everything, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, in that case, we'll leave then with another one of these infamous musicals. This week it is RoboCop, the musical. Martin, thank you very much. I'm not sure what we're going to be doing next week, we'll
have
see
you seen the 1960s Time Machine movie?
Oh, right, that's it, next week. We'll do it next week.
We could cover that with the Spielberg one and put them both together.
Oh.
Compare them. You remember the Spielberg? I love the Spielberg one.
Well, I prefer the original one, so we might have a bit of debate.
That's the greatest. Rod Taylor.
Yeah, Rod.
Well,
let's focus on the original, but we'll also mention. I'll do the graphics for the original, but we can also talk about the 1970s one, which had Malcolm McDowell in it as well.
Is that the one they made for TV?
I've got a copy of that, the Time Machine, that one as well.
Well, it gets in like a triangular shape thing. God, that was.
And Jack the Ripper goes into America.
Yes,
he time travels. All right. Right. Well, although it'll be the Rod Taylor one, we'll also talk about the other versions as well.
Yes,
that'll be an epic one.
But I look forward to it. Yes.
Brilliant,
25 next week.
Oh, I know. It's amazing, isn't it? Already, that's really good. Thank you, Martin. We'll catch you next week on the Solo One Sci-Fi podcast. Live long and prosper.
Take care, everybody, and live long and prosper.
Laters.
Foolish machine, didn't know I could dream. Was it a nightmare or an error in the drive? Something feels wrong, like there's been a mistake. I'm awake, but I'm not sure if I'm alive. My brain is infected with 4 prime directives. I'm quite a remarkable tool. But somehow I feel like I used to be someone who thought about more than these rules.
Murphy, it's you. Murphy, it's you. I watched it happen. They killed you, you were dead. They blew your arm off and they shot you in the head. Murphy, it's you. What did they do? Though I don't know if you remember who I am. I was your partner for a day. My name is Anne. Murphy, it's you. Murphy, it's you. You act so calm, but I can see that you're in pain. You run a program, but you used to have a name. It was Bodyker, look up the case. All of it's true. Take the screws out and look at your face. Murphy, it's you.
Why am I able to conjure up feelings my programming shouldn't allow? Frustrating glimpses of people who loved me, but what would they think of me now? Strange little ticks from the life I once knew, like the way that I holster my gun. Why can I punch through a wall and not feel it, but don't know that I had a son? Etched in my head all the looks on their faces, the pleasure they took from my pain. Taunting and teasing and making bad jokes just as if they were playing a game. How many corpses are given the chance to avenge themselves after they're lost? Wait till I finally find them and force them to pay for the life that they cost. I have to go now. I must not linger. I will find these killers. I'll use my finger. So I better believe what she said. All of it's true. OCP brought me back from the dead. Murphy, it's you. Murphy, it's you.